Welcome to your On TV News Desk. I'm here in the studio today with Christine St-Pierre from the Northern Policy Institute.
Hi.
Hi. Now, Christine, you are the Communications and Outreach Officer for the Northern Policy Institute.
That's right.
For people who don't know, can you explain a little bit, first of all, about what the Northern Policy Institute is?
Yeah, Northern Policy Institute is the only independent think tank in Northern Ontario. We perform research, evidence-based research that will be put out to promote a sustainable Northern Ontario and a sustainable economic growth in Northern Ontario.
Geared specifically, not to the needs of Ontario, but to the needs of the northern communities.
Yep, the Northerners, yeah.
Love it. So, you guys do a lot of commentary, like series on different issues that are pertinent in the North. And the most recent one that we received a press release about was on demographic shift, population decline, and the need for a Northern Newcomer strategy. And this was written by Christina Zeffi. Now, can you tell me a little bit about what this study, what the Northern Attraction series is, because it's one of four, right?
Yeah, so the Northern Attraction series is a series of 4 commentaries that will eventually lead to the Northern Newcomer strategy.
Okay.
So the first one that we just put out laid down the foundations, showing the, demonstrating the demographic needs of a newcomer strategy. So we have population trends and stuff like that. The second one is about the strengths and the weaknesses of Northern Newcomer attractions that we have right now. So we're going to have consultations with key leaders.
Right.
The third one will have policy recommendations, and finally the fourth one will have the strategies that will be put out and given to municipalities that will be able to use at a community level.
So they'll be able, by the end of this, to hopefully actually utilize these strategies in order to attract and retain newcomers.
Exactly. So this will be put out in the next couple months.
That sounds like a lot of work. So the author that wrote this,
Christina Zeffi.
Christina Zeffi.
Yeah, so she's from Toronto.
Okay.
So when we talk about newcomers, I just want to specify that we don't only talk about immigrants. Yes, we talk about people that come from other countries, but we also talk about people who moved from other parts of the country to come here to Northern Ontario, other people that come from Ontario to Southern Ontario. So just like Christina, she is a newcomer. She came from Southern Ontario to Northern Ontario. Christina has a degree in sociology and criminology from University of Toronto, and she also has a graduate certificate in public administration, and she is currently an NPI research analyst.
And she has firsthand experience with being a migrant.
Exactly. She's a migrant.
So based on, can you tell me some of the statistics that were kind of laid out in this work that will lay the foundation for the next stage?
Yeah, so this in particular commentary showed that the population in Northern Ontario is having a very big demographic change.
Right.
So our population is getting older. Our overall population is also declining, and that's due to things like low fertility rates, the rising in life expectancy, and an increase in out-migration. So an example would be the rate of the Algoma district from 96 to 2016 is minus 9.1. And that's a difference from the overall province, which has increased 25.1%. And this is a trend, the population declining is a trend in a lot of regions of Northern Ontario, not only in the Algoma district.
Whereas we're seeing the opposite effect in Southern Ontario.
Exactly, yeah.
So this strategy in particular doesn't, this commentary doesn't put forth any specific recommendations.
Not just yet. That will be in the further commentaries until we have the actual strategy at the 4th commentary.
And what are some of the issues, the key issues that have been laid out? I read that it said 8 out of 11 Northern Ontario communities have experienced a decline.
Yeah. So right now in the Northeast and the Northwest, we see that it's mostly youth and coming leaders, so people between 20 and 29 years old that are leaving.
Right.
And that's where we have to work, and this is where we have to find opportunities to bring these newcomers so that we can have these people fill and support these high-skilled innovation jobs, and also fill these low, currently constantly vacant employment positions like PSWs, so personal support workers, and truck drivers, and retail workers.
Fields
and stuff
that seem
like
to always be hiring.
Exactly.
So it said in the commentary that there's a need for proactive programs and policies.
Yep.
And it seems like right now, and I don't know how much this you can speak to this, kind of just what I think based on what I read, that a lot of what we're doing seems to be reactive. Like something happens and then we decide we need to do something about it. But moving forward, it sounds like what this strategy could eventually help doing is implement something so that we don't face this crossroads again.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, we never want our work to just be sitting on a shelf
Absolutely.
and not do anything. We want our work to be read and to influence policymakers, government, non-government, and we want these research papers to have influence to create these actions that will bring that sustainable Northern Ontario that we want so bad.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. And we will be right back after this break to talk a little bit more about the Northern Policy Institute's commentary series. We'll be back. Welcome back to your On TV News Desk. I'm here in the studio with Christine St-Pierre from Northern Policy Institute, and we're talking about the Northern Attraction Series. Now, okay, so we talked a little bit about what this first piece by the author Christina Zeffi is, and how it kind of plays into this larger issue that we're facing in Northern Ontario. But what I want to know is, because, for example, in the paper it says that we're going to need 50,000 newcomers by 2041 just to sustain our current population level. So that's not even to grow, that's just to stay where we're at. And yet, by the same token, it seems like kind of a catch-22 because we have so many people who will be saying, you know, why do we need more people when there's not even enough jobs for the people we have here?
So to that, I can say something. Even if every single person in Northern Ontario worked in the labor force right now, so young, old, men, women, Indigenous, not Indigenous, if every single person, and let's be honest, 100% labor participation is unrealistic. If every single one worked, we would still be missing 50,000 people to fill that skills gap and to have that sustainable economic growth. So that's why we can bring in these migrants and they can come in and help fill those positions that we're missing.
So it's not a matter of, you know, jobs being taken or...
No.
That's a common misconception.
Exactly. So while the Northern Attraction series concentrates on retaining and attracting newcomers, of course, we can't forget the people that we already have here. So the current Indigenous and non-Indigenous population also needs to successfully enter the workforce to fill that skills gap, to fix that labor shortage, to fix that population decline. And in other words, it's not an either-or situation. We need both. We need those newcomers and we need the current population to work together to fill that skills gap.
And in terms of, you know, we're talking skills gap and, you know, very specific kind of labor categories that are short, what kind of agencies are you hoping, I mean, obviously municipalities, but aside from that, what kind of agencies are you hoping will utilize this strategy once it's complete?
Of course, we work a lot with people that are involved in immigration, okay? We want municipal leaders, provincial leaders, regional leaders, economic development officers, people that work in service providers and education sectors and, you know, pretty much everyone. We want everyone to be able to help us out. And we also created a program, the Matchmaker program, a community matchmaker program, which provides employment services for potential newcomers and employers that want that international skill set. And we match the workers and the employers together. So people like that, we need those employers that want that international skills to come in and work with them.
So programs like that Matchmaker program you just mentioned, those are kind of the tangible results that come from these kinds of studies that you guys complete?
Yeah, exactly.
And are you what are you kind of hoping that comes out of this?
So right now, our Matchmaker program and our research projects mostly are in Thunder Bay.
Okay.
So if successful, we hope that it'll
expand
and fan out all the way in Northern Ontario. And for the newcomer strategy, our main goal, get those 50,000 people up here. Get that skills gap.
Possible.
Yeah.
And based on it's not complete, but based on the research, that has been done so far, what can you say to the current implications for Northern Ontario if the situation doesn't change, if we don't get the 50,000 newcomers?
As our population declines, as our population gets older, the situation's not going to get any better if we don't start working towards that. So we need to get those strategies and attract and retain those young people and retain those newcomers and bring those migrants in so that Northern Ontario as a whole can grow stronger and better.
And would you say that a lot of the issues, maybe you don't, maybe this will come out, but maybe you can speak to it based on the studies that have been complete, but do you think a lot of the issues are in the economic sector? Like we're not keeping up with the technology or the specific type of jobs that people are looking for, and so they're moving?
It's in a lot more than just the economic sector. It's in the education sector as well. It's in the transportation side of things as well. Like, how do we access things? Is it easier? Is it harder? Well, definitely in Northern Ontario, it's been harder recently, especially with those roads closing up and washouts.
When you compare the elaborate transportation systems in Southern Ontario and in other countries, it's almost a wonder.
Exactly. And also our tax system is a lot different from other countries too, so maybe we can take some examples from that. We actually just had our conference, State of the North, which was taxing for growth, and different strategies to grow our taxes, and not necessarily taxing more things, but maybe or taxing more, but maybe taxing more things less, type thing. So
to provide more services.
Exactly. Work on things like gas prices. Cities that are closer to the borders, maybe lower the gas prices so they have less. They want to go over the border a little bit less to have cheaper gas. There you go.
So it sounds to me like there's a lot of facets that need to come together and hopefully, not work in silos, but kind of come together to create a strategy. And we're looking forward to hearing what the rest of this Northern Attraction series has to offer.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can have you back to talk about the results once they're available. You said in a couple months.
In a couple months, we'll have all 4 commentaries out, and we'll be glad to come back and talk about it.
Well, thank you so much, Christine, for coming in. That's Christine St-Pierre from the Northern Policy Institute. And we will be back with more news coming up on TV after this break. Stay tuned.